insurance team. All right. So, all right. Welcome. Hey, Gopher CEO community. Thank you so much today again for joining in with us. Today we have a special guest. It's been someone who I've created a friendship over the last year or so. I met him through another connection of mine in the financial world. And today he joins us on the Gopher CEO community. And let me remind you, right, this is about startups, about CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, teaching you, sharing with you the stories of the ups, the downs, the scaling, the operations, the just overall mindset of what it takes to really build a traditional business, going into the world and making things happen on your own. So Gopher CEO community, excited to have Mr. Carlos Pulido from the Expert Insurance team. Hey, Carlos, how are you?
What's up, John, man? I'm fantastic, man. I woke up this morning, so it's a good day.
It always is. No chalk lines around us. We're okay.
No, man, we're good.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So I kind of see, just dip your hat down a little bit. What?
Damn.
Oh, Medicare.
I don't play, man. Always be marketing. You gotta always be marketing.
All right. ABM. Always be marketing. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. I love it. So hey, look, I appreciate you joining the community today. We really get into the steps that you kind of took to initially become an entrepreneur, and then we'll kind of go through the gamut of some questions there. So I appreciate you jumping on.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about kind of just the beginning steps. How did you join the insurance world? What attracted you to it, and how did you start to formulate that idea of going on your own?
Sure, man. I've always been like I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My family, growing up, my grandma had a restaurant, like a grocery store. My grandpa had a grocery store restaurant that that I worked in. My brother's been in the restaurant business, and my brother-in-law has a restaurant down the street. So my dream always growing up was like, I want to own a restaurant. That's what I want to do, because you can make good money, and it's just something that I'm used to. Well, I quickly find out that the restaurant business, like it works you got to be there 24/7. So that went out the window. So what happened was, I was working at a dealership, and I was duped into, come work for us. You can come sell cars. You can make over $100,000 a year and live comfortably. Blah blah blah. But they failed to mention that the car business is a lot of brain damage, right? If anybody's been in the car business, you know how it is. It's not about the clients. It's more about the salespeople. Having to deal with the salespeople, especially if you're in management. It's like, why do I got to tell you what to do? Like, why can't you just be grown men and women and do your job? Well, I'm sitting behind the desk one day, and it's sunny outside. It's a Saturday, and I'm thinking to myself, my daughter's a like 6, 7, 8 months at the time, and I'm thinking, this can't be it for the rest of my life. Like, my daughter's life is passing me by, and I'm over here, spending this beautiful Saturday at work. Like, I got to find something else. I got to find something where I have the freedom to spend some time with my family, So I called my boss and I said, listen, I'm done. And my thought process was, I'm going to find another job where I'm working less hours, making the same money, or maybe find another job, same hours, and make a ton more money. Maybe more money would be a better quality of life, Well, I ended up working at another dealership. I was working more hours, less money. It was the worst decision of my life,
Wow.
So after 6 months, I said, no, I'm doing something else. So I applied at a finance company, and the finance company was checking people's credit to see if I would give them an auto loan, so I couldn't get out of the car business, So if you guys know anything about corporate America, it's like, if you're the last one in, you're the first one out. I was there for 6 months, and for some reason I got fired. Maybe the owner was like, I don't like your opinions on how we should collect payments or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm crying on the way home. I'm telling my wife, like, I've never experienced this before. I've never been fired before. Like, oh snap, what am I gonna do? I got responsibilities. My daughter's a year and a half old, probably at the time. My wife's working a $30,000 job. Her parents are living with us upstairs, and the uncle is living downstairs. I got all these people I got to be responsible for, So I'm like, okay, I can't feel sorry for myself. Go straight to the library, start working on my resume. A bunch of people call me, and then an insurance agency calls me. They're like, hey, you want to come check us out? I'm like, you know what? I had always heard about insurance. I just didn't know what it all meant, right? So I came to this overview, and a couple things clicked. It was Number one, you get to run your own business, come and go as you please. I'm like, fantastic. That's one of the things I'm looking for. If I wanted to take Stormy to her gymnastics class or soccer practice whenever I feel like it, that's what I want. I don't want people looking over my shoulder. That's number one. And number two, they were like, hey man, if you write a certain amount of business, you can become a partner. We'll give you a big fat check, and you'll get a big fat check every year. I'm like, well, if you can do it, I can do it too, And then lastly, they were like, residual income. I was like, I had always heard about this stuff. I just never knew what it was all about,
Yeah.
So you're telling me that I can write a policy today and get paid for that business for the rest of my life as long as the policy's on the books? You mean to tell me it's not really like being self-employed? Like I'm a home builder, let's say. I build a home, I get the check for the home, and then the next day I'm unemployed because I got to figure out where to buy the next home or where to build the next home. I'm like, sign me up, right? I go to my wife and I tell her, honey, I think this is what I want to do. I see it in their faces. They're not lying to me. Like, why would they lie to me? Right? This has got to be true. Mm-hmm. And she didn't tell me this, but like years later, she's in the back of her head. She's like, oh my God. She's like, not another sales job. Why can't you just get a regular job and get a paycheck? I'm like, honey, trust me. I got two hands. I mean, I didn't say it at the time, but that's what I was thinking when she told me this, right? I was thinking, like, I was just exuding, trust me, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it too, So yeah, man, I jumped in. I jumped in, head first. I dove in 11, 12, 13. That's what my insurance license says. I'll never forget the date, 11, 12, 13. I jumped in right when Obamacare was going into full effect in 2014. So I had to, learn that stuff and, baptism by fire type of thing. I got really good at the under 65 stuff. I was really good. Like I felt like I was the best, well, there's always somebody better, but I felt like I was really, really good. People were coming to me. I was teaching people all that stuff. And then somebody said, well, and then I felt I can't keep doing Obamacare stuff because every year I have to touch my clients every year at the end of the year. We have to renew their policies, right? And spend another hour on their policies every year. And I'm thinking to myself, how the heck can I scale up that way? If I have to touch my clients every year, how the heck am I ever gonna make more money every year? So then I'm like, what is this Medicare stuff? I heard about Medicare. Okay, when you turn 65, you have to be on Medicare. And old folks don't like to play around. They don't like to jump around. And they're going to be with the policy for the rest of their life. I'm like, this is exactly what I want to do. The Medicare stuff. Wow. So for the last, 4 years, 3 or 4 years, I've slowly been, building my book of business on the Medicare side instead of the under 65 Obamacare side, man. And it's been fantastic. It has been fantastic. It's the best decision that I've ever made. The residual income is great. And unless somebody shows me otherwise, I don't know of any other good residual income like Medicare. Maybe being an actor or something like that. But I'm sure there's a lot of stuff out there. But somebody's got to show it to me. And then
you're not a singer?
Huh?
You don't sing?
Dude, if there was one ability that I could like just snap my fingers and get it, it would be singing. But I can't sing. I can't sing. I can't
sing. Oh, you can't sing.
No, okay, I wish I could sing. I wish I could snap my fingers and start singing. And here's why. Because my two best friends growing up, they were fantastic singers and they were in bands, and I would go to their shows and I would dance, and I'd be so like not jealous but happy for them. And I'm like, man, I wish I could sing like you guys, So
for sure.
I had to try the other route, and I had to learn how to dance. So I'm a pretty good dancer. I'm better than them. But they're excellent singers. I wish I could sing though.
Well, I agree with you, brother. I got hips and legs. I'm Colombian, so I can dance. But yeah, I cannot sing, man. So.
For the life of me, I can't sing. I even took this Discovery music course in college where you get 1 credit just to sing because I wanted to sing. So I got an easy credit. I got an easy credit there.
There you go. Well, awesome, brother. Well, hey, I appreciate you kind of laying the foundation down. Yeah. Let's get a little bit deeper. When you said 11, 12, 13, that's when you actually become licensed, right?
That's exactly what my license says, yeah.
All right. Take us through that journey. Obviously, you become really an employee again, but was it an independent contractor role or a true employee with W-2 at that beginning stages?
It was a W-2, excuse me, it was a 1099 employee. So I was really an independent. The only thing is that when you associate yourself with an agency, your contracts are with that agency and they're supposed to give you support. And if you write business, they get money as you produce, right? They're
Like a real estate,
yeah.
everybody's always, kind of jumping to real estate because they feel like they know that model, but they don't really know the insurance model as well, right? So for the most part,
you know what? People always say, like, is it MLM? Like when you think about it, everything is MLM.
everything,
From
100%.
Target to the mom and pop shop, down the street, right? There's somebody getting paid at the top, and then there's somebody at the bottom. That's how it works,
Yeah,
So,
and in public companies, it's all about the shareholder, man. So you're beckoned to the shareholder. If you're not making money for those shares, you're done, right? So
right. I mean, I don't know much about that, but I believe you.
no, definitely. So here, we take that journey. You went from kind of careers that you had to make your own hay, right, in the automotive industry, then the finance industry, and you find this company, you get inspired, you convince your wife that this is going to be it. What are those first probably 3 to 6 months that are you channeled into learning the product and becoming very product oriented, or are you more learning to bring in the clients because you feel like, hey, if I have the support that can help me? So what was your forte of going into business there?
Let me tell you, it sucks. Bottom line, it sucks. It's not easy, right? Like you dive in head first. You're like, I can do this, right? I open up my laptop. I go through some training. I shadow a friend of mine. I open up the laptop, and what do? I sit there and I freeze for 15 minutes, right? And I think to myself, like, Carlos, like, if you're not going to do this, just go home. Like, what's your problem? Like, you're wasting everybody's time. You're wasting, the agency's time. You're wasting your time, but more importantly, you're wasting your family's time. The family that said, you can do this, I trust you, go ahead and knock it out. So I'm like, okay, I got to do this. I can't be acting like this. So I start smiling and dialing, right? I don't know anything about insurance. I'm learning as I go. I am researching every night. I'm asking people for help. I'm recording them, all that jazz. And I'm trying. And I finally make a sale to a friend of mine a month later. It took me a whole month to write my first policy, right? And then it took me a whole month to write my second policy. I don't know what it is. I'm the slowest cat on the, in line. But what happened was this. There was this. It's like a graph. At first, it's a flat line, right? And then I got it. And then the growth was exponential. I was like, okay, I know this. I get it. I feel comfortable with this. And then it was like, okay, I wrote $1 million in net annualized premium in about 1 year and 4 months.
Wow.
It was hard at first. I do have it's very important when you're new to something to get somebody that can mentor you, right? Like you've heard it before. People have gone through the rigmarole. People have already been through all the fights and wars and has the arrows in the back, and they're willing to show you how to avoid all that stuff. I remember when I was working at a dealership, my car had broken down, and I was begging a mechanic to, here, I got the money, I want you to fix my car, right? He's like, I don't have time. I found another mechanic, and I said, Paul, his name is Paul, he's a really good friend of mine now. I said, Paul, I got the money to fix this car, but I just want to learn because I can't keep spending $2,000 on this stupid Audi that I bought, He's like, you know what, Carlos, let's do this. You buy the parts, we'll put it up in the lift, and you can do it yourself. I'm like, yeah. Parts cost me $700. I went in there with the help of him. I was wrenching, and I fixed it myself. And then I said, listen, Paul, can I just come every Thursday and I'll help you out? I don't want to get paid, but I want to learn how to work on cars. And he's like, hell yeah. I mean, that stuff is invaluable. This dude has been a mechanic for 30 years, and he's willing to teach you for free. It's like, I'll take it all day. Now, like I would say I'm like a C+ mechanic versus everybody else, you know?
Nice.
But the point is this, that in any business, in the insurance business, if you got to attach yourself to somebody who's willing to teach you, even if it means giving up some money here and there, the experience that you'll get is invaluable. And then when you grow up, if you want to go somewhere else and do your thing, then knock yourself out. And that's what happened to me. I attached myself to people who were in the business. I was sucking their brains, and eventually when I got pretty good at what I was doing, didn't really need their help any longer. I'm like, okay, I appreciate it, and I got to do this Medicare stuff.
I love it. I love, that you dropped a golden nugget. I'm going to get an audio thing one of these days where it'll go,
Yeah.
because that was dropping bombs, man. That was awesome. A lot of people, unfortunately, don't realize that, look, in a corporate America job, they usually give you kind of like a 90-day ramp up period. And sure, they're paying you, right, to kind of learn their systems, learn their company culture, learn their, CRMs and all that type of stuff, depending on the role that you have. But most people don't correlate that to, that's kind of the way that you have to act in your own business, right? In your own independence. You talked about it, 90 days or so, the first three, month, then the second month, and then all of a sudden stratosphere, you start to kind of go up. So I appreciate you laying that knowledge down and sharing with people that they have to invest in themselves.
You got to give yourself some time. Yeah,
that's the time.
You have to give yourself some time, because I mean, if this is brand new to you, you can't expect to be the best insurance agent in the world, the best Medicare agent, the best, whatever restaurant manager in the world. You gotta give yourself some time to get acclimated and settled in,
So tell me about just even, let's stay on that topic of the transition, right? So you take this time, probably a little bit of heat at home because income isn't flowing. How was that transition of still kind of, building up, did your wife have a job? Just to kind of cultivate that mindset of, all right, hey, at the family front, because this is why a lot of people just don't want to get into their own business. They don't want to put it all on the line. How did you acclimate to that and then, kind of go towards there?
A couple things. So my wife was still working. She was only making like $30,000 a year. Okay. And because I had gotten fired, I was collecting unemployment for a little while. So all that stuff kind of kept me afloat. And because it was a 1099 gig, I didn't have to report to income till the end of the year. So you can still call in and get your money, So 6 months was a little bit of time to make a sale or two to replace that unemployment income that was there, right? But it wasn't until maybe 2 or 3 years later where the income was like pretty decent, right? So what do you do from the beginning till 2 or 3 years? Man, you beg. I remember, I would pay the mortgage like late in here and there, whenever I had the money, the mortgage was getting paid late. And then the mortgage had gotten to a point where it's like, okay, now we're going to start this foreclosure process. So I'm like, well, hey, brothers and sisters, can you just help me out? Can you just help us out? Can we just get this paid? And I promise I'll pay you back. And man, what's a bigger, kick in the butt than stuff going through stuff like that? Like you gotta make it work. You have no choice, but you have to make it work. So I just made it work, man. Made it work.
That's awesome. I love it. You know what? Because a lot of people unfortunately don't have that understanding, right? And what we're trying to teach people on this Go for CEO channel is those types of stories. You may have to go through that, but if you're focused and like Carlos said, you have some good mentors, you really kind of can strive, but you have to put in the work. That's the bottom line. So tell me now, you're about 2-3 years into it. It sounds like you're at this other, this parent agency. What is the light switch that goes on for you that now you want to start your own business and your own strategies and start to implement your own techniques and processes? So walk us through a little bit about that kind of that change in that entrepreneur, because you go from really self-employed as a 1099. Now you're coming up to the business owner aspect of it. Tell us about that transition.
So I'm going to answer that question in a second, but let me go back to what we were talking about before, that, going through these hurdles. Okay. If you're going through these hurdles, understand that that's a little bit of an advantage for you. If you understand what that feels like to be down in the dumps, you're gonna know where you don't want to be, and it's gonna push you even more. So if you're going through that stuff, trust me, that's an advantage that you have over somebody who's been spoon fed and has a silver platter. Okay, so that's a good thing. Grit, going through that stuff is a good thing. But what made me, transition from, okay, I'm a independent agent to an agency owner? Well, about a year and a half ago, I went to this insurance conference down in Texas, and I remember skipping a Mexico trip that I earned to go to this insurance conference. I'm like, I'm not going to go to this Mexico trip because it's just the same people all the time, and what am I going to learn there? I want to go to this insurance conference that some people are inviting me to, and they're talking about. Maybe I can learn some stuff. I remember hearing the first speaker, and I was so mad. I was like, if this insurance conference is going to be like this, oh man, I just want to go home. It was the worst. But then the next person came up. I was like, wow, that was pretty good. Then the next person came up, and I was like, wow, fantastic. The next. I was like, bam, I'm pumped. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. There was this one guy. His name was Ramiz Hakim. You probably see him on social media. No, he's not on social media anymore. But anyways, he had a final expense agency, probably like 400, 500, 600 agents all across the country. And he didn't say it to me specifically, but I understood him saying, Carlos, you got to stop thinking like a peasant. You got to stop thinking like a peasant. You have to grow your business. You're good. You're good at all this stuff, but you can't do it all. Carlos, you can't do it all. You can't do sales. You can't do service. You can't do marketing. You can't train. You got to learn what is called responsibility rationing. Find the people that can handle some responsibilities for you. You're worth $3,000 an hour, and you're doing $10 an hour work. Why are you doing that?
So brilliant.
So yep. I'm like, I called my wife and I said, honey, we're gonna stop effing around. We need to start doing this stuff right. When I get back, we're gonna get my agency license. We're gonna do this, and this. And this was a year and a half ago, where I didn't have any like Medicare agents underneath me. And now, a year and a half later, it's probably like 40 or 50. So, wow. So it's just people like when these events go on, I tell people all the time, you got to go to this stuff. I mean, I'm not into the cheesy stuff. I'm not into the cheesy stuff, but there's always going to be somebody that says something that's a golden nugget. That's a golden nugget that you can take back to your business, and you can apply to it. You can apply it right away. And I got a bunch of those nuggets, and I'm like, I got to stop thinking like a peasant.
I love that. And I will say, you went with an intention, right? You skipped Mexico, right? A nice trip to Mexico. You took the intention and went there. So as I've shared, in the pre-recording here, we don't go too much motivational with Go for CEO, but that part right there is such a golden nugget of what you just said. You went to this seminar with intention, and then you broke through because you heard the right thing, and it made you realize, wow, here's where I need to head. So let me say,
I'm open. Like, I'm open to sucking in the knowledge. Like, there are people out there that are just amazing, like just really amazing. I know, going from high school to college, high school, you're smart as hell. College, you realize that you're not smart as hell. Like there's some really fantastic people out there. And for me, being around fantastic people motivates the heck out of me. Like my mindset is, man, if you can do it, I can do it too. Like what? Like I got 2 hands, I got 2 feet, I got a brain between my ears. If you're doing it, I can do it too. So I'm going to this insurance conference, and these guys are making $40 million a year, no sweating, not sweating. I'm like, tell me what to do. I'll just do it. I'm a mule. I'm a Mexican mule. I just keep working. Tell me, and I get it. So I'm just working. Just tell me what to do, and I work it.
Awesome. So hey, look. So you get inspired. You kind of hit that you hear that quiet voice on your right side, probably your good side, right, saying, "Hey, hey,
Mhm. Yeah,
do
yeah.
it." You share with your wife. So, what is the way that you structured your business to start off? And look, in a year and a half, to have grown 40 agents strong nationwide, correct?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so nationwide. So let's go into the deeper side. Did you form a corporation? How did you have a non-compete with the agency that you were with? Were you able to transfer those clients? Tell us a little bit about that and how you formulate that side of the business.
Well, if in the insurance business, just to get technical, if you want to have an agency, you have to have an agency license as well. So you gotta have an EIN number for your business. You go to NIPR, you get your license, and blah blah. And then when you get the contracts with the insurance agents, with the insurance companies, you got to contract both your agency and your agency. Um, what else? Let's see.
So you formed a corporation.
Yeah.
You started calling the insurance brokers.
No. Okay. This is that. I appreciate you reminding me. So here's the thing. In business, there's nothing more important than being of value, like an asset, right? So when we talk to our clients, we're not selling anything. We're giving them everything they want. We're educating them on everything, what their two primary Medicare options are, what's good and bad and ugly about everything, answering all their questions. And not once are we saying, do you want to buy something like that, right? We're doing it in such a way, like, let me ask you this, something personal to you, John. Has anybody done something in your life, something so important, and never asked for anything in return? Like, think about that. Has anybody ever done something for you in your life that was very important, and they never asked for anything in return? It's happened to me plenty of times. And you know what I feel like? I feel like if I won the lottery, they'd be the first ones to get a piece, right? You owe them something. That's what you feel like. I feel like I owe them something. And that's what I want my clients to feel like. I want my clients to feel like I owe Carlos something. He's helped us out so much. Like, why would I go anywhere else, right? Agents, when they hear about me, I'm always willing to help, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're on my team or you're not. Number one, because it makes me better. It's easy to do what you're doing, and you become great. But when you start teaching it, you become a legend, right? It starts sinking in a little bit differently, right? So when agents come to me, they ask me for help. I'm boom, 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 helping. And hey, Carlos, I owe you something. How do I get on your team? Right?
So
And then the next person, man, Carlos. Then the next person, man, Carlos. I don't recruit. I don't have like a recruiting mechanism or anything like that. It's just that people see what I'm doing, and they want to be part of the team. So that's how it works.
I love it. And you kind of jumped into the scale part, right? So obviously you have identified a system for yourself to give first. The law of reciprocity, everyone, is huge. If you read some of the books out there, reciprocity is a human nature thing. When you do something for someone without any intention of getting anything back, like you said, they naturally feel like they owe you something, right? So
now I know what it's called. I used to just say it's the law of the universe, but it's
I can't name the book, but I've read it definitely a few times in different books where it's called the law of reciprocity. And look, so you formed the corporation. Did you get a lawyer, an accountant? How did you structure your business itself?
No, I didn't do all that stuff, man. I had an accountant ever since 2015 when I got the EIN number for my business. But in 2015, I didn't have like the agency license. So all that extra stuff I give to my accountant, and I say, listen, tell me what I have to do. Tell me what you need from me. And he takes care of the rest of the stuff. Remember, I'm not smart enough to figure all that stuff out. But what are we doing? We're rationing off the responsibility to someone else who can do that stuff. So something I heard recently, like there's like in jujitsu, if anybody's taken jujitsu, I've never taken jujitsu, but I like watching, jujitsu and like watching. They're like, you can, once you get the hand here, the next step is there, and then you got to do this little technique. And then there's there's 10 steps you got to do to get the move right, right? But the most important move is the top one. Like this has more weight than any little things down here. So figure out how to do the simple stuff as best as you can, and don't worry about that other little stuff, you know? So
you put the right people in place, right? So
yeah,
I love it. I love it. So you now you start your business. We missed a little bit of, do you get to migrate the clients that you built for 2 or 3 years, or are you starting brand new a year and a half ago?
In my particular case, they're still my clients. I still have an association with the agency that I started with. You know, like after 5 years, you become fully vested and all that stuff. Particularly with this company. You know, so that never went away. But I took my Medicare contracts away from there, started with a new agency, and now everything that I'm building there just belongs to me.
Flourish. And the 40, 50 agents that you've started to bring onto the team as well, right? Those are yours.
Correct. Those are mine. Yeah, those are mine. Yeah, it's
so
my
tell us a little bit about the structure. So if anybody doesn't know about starting their own insurance agency, but maybe they are insurance and agents right now, or they want to get into the business, specifically in your field, is there a top line contract level? How do you structure that so that your guys, you know, they're looking at you just kind of like you were the winner in this lion inside of their agency? How are you structuring that as far as levels and percentages and all that type of stuff?
The cool thing about Medicare is that the hierarchies are no secret, right? They're almost kind of regulated by CMS almost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, so here's how it goes. Just like any other thing, there's street level agents that if you write the business, the money's going to you, right? And then above that, there's something called a GA, a general agent, where if you write business, you know, you get a little bit more money from the policies that you write. But if your agent writes business, then you get that spread, right? So let's say it's $50. You know, they write a policy, they get $540, and you would get, you know, $50. If you wrote your own policy, you'd get $590 if you do the math, right? And then the next level up, you get an extra $25. And then the next level up, you get an extra $25. And then that's where I'm at. I'm like 3 or 4 levels up. And then there's more levels above that, right? But that all requires bunch of stuff like number of agents underneath you, proof of production, all that stuff. As far as commission is concerned, everybody knows how much you're going to make when you sell a Medicare Advantage policy because it's standardized. It's $540 in 2021, and it's I think like $85 for a prescription drug plan. So that stuff is standardized. Now, if you want to have an agency like a State Farm agent where you're the agency owner and you have employees that work for you and you got to pay them an hourly rate, then those agents are beneath the street level agent, which are called licensed only agents, LOA agents. So you get paid the commission and you pay your employees whatever you want to pay them.
Okay, so in my case, they have to be licensed as well?
Correct. In my case, I have both. I have agents that are independent that you know work for themselves and I support them, and I have agents that work for me underneath me where I give them everything, the leads, the place to work, the computer, all that stuff. They're actually my employees.
Oh, interesting. So they're W-2 employees for you.
W-2 employees, correct.
And they handle all the lead mechanisms and prospects that are coming.
Sales and service is what they're all about. You know.
Fantastic.
Some people are sales.
The brand expert insurance team, is that what you go to market with?
Yes, 100%. Okay. You know.
Awesome.
Yeah. As far as when we do marketing on social media and Facebook and things like that, it's always branded by expert insurance team. But I learned recently that I think my YouTube channel should be marketed a little bit different as more of a person of interest, like myself, Carlos Polito, instead of expert insurance team. So I'm going to figure that out next year when this open enrollment passes by.
Awesome. Yeah, this is the heavy time, so I appreciate you sharing some time. So did you get a location? Are you leasing a place, or do you run everything pretty much virtually?
No. So when I first started, I would always go to that agency's office and I would sit in a desk outside the door somewhere, by myself, 50 hours a week, Then a space opened up there and I rented a room. It was like $300, and then we got kicked out of there because the owner sold a portion of the suite to somebody else. So we had to get out of there. And I'm like, okay, well, now it's time to get my own office, right? So did some research, found this office in Bloomingdale. It's pretty affordable. It's pretty nice. It's pretty quiet down here. But what that did was, like, it did something to my psyche. It felt good to have your own place. Like, it makes you feel like you're legitimate, like it's your own place. This is expert insurance team's office. I wasn't just renting a room at the other agency's office, but it also helps with the agents, when you're telling them about expert insurance team and they see that you have an office, they're like, okay, well, he's legit, he's serious, right? And now they think more highly of you, and they have a place to come work if they needed to work. So it's been a blessing for sure. So people come here all the time. I mean, most of the agents that are stopping by are the independent agents that are 1099. So they're not here all the time. They just stop in when they have to meet up with clients, or they want me to help them with something, or they just want to get away from the house. So yeah, I did that, and it's been a blessing. Now I feel like I gotta, next year when this lease is up, I have to find something bigger.
Oh, you're okay. Awesome. I love that. So what has scaling been like for you? And then you shared a little bit earlier, your leadership is really reciprocity law, right? The law of reciprocity, where you've been kind of sharing with these people, maybe competitors even of yours, it sounds like. How does it look like for you when you talk about your leadership style within the agency that you're building?
Number one, competition is healthy. I'm not like, people who are scared of competition are just like, I feel that they're not sure of themselves and not sure of what they're doing, right? Or maybe not open. So anybody that's willing to learn, or that is asking me for help, I'm more than willing to help, right? Just 2 seconds ago, before we started this meeting, there was an agent that just didn't work out. She just wasn't there, and I told her, we're not meant for each other, right? But fast forward a year and a half later to today, the agent calls me and she's like, I need your help. I think the world of you. My husband thinks the world of you. I need help, passing my AHIP and doing my Medicare stuff. Sure, I'm always willing to help. I'm never, just because we didn't have a good relationship a year and a half ago, doesn't mean that I'm never going to help. This is what you need to do, and I'm going to help you, right?
That's awesome.
Competition's healthy. Always willing to help everybody. My leadership style is very simple. I heard this quote that no one's better than you, but you're better than nobody. That's how I feel. No one's better than me, but I'm better than nobody. Everybody can do exactly what I'm doing. There's nothing special about me. I have a talent for emulating people. Like, you just tell me what to do, show me what to do, and I'll do it. And then eventually you do it 3 times by yourself, and it becomes your own. Like, it morphs into yourself. So my leadership style is, listen, we're doing this stuff together. Like, you want to introduce me like he's the president of expert insurance team and he's the one that's doing all this stuff. Like, no. We wouldn't be here without us doing this together. Because number one, if I'm teaching you, I'm getting better at my stuff. And if you're doing great, we're both making money. And if you're doing great, then that spreads the word. So we're doing this together. No one's better than me, but I'm not better than anybody. That makes sense.
I love that. I've not heard leadership explained that way and the mindset behind it. So I appreciate you sharing that. Let's get into a little bit about the business and the money flow, right? Teach people really kind of how it works. You explained the layers, right? What type of revenues have you started to see, and where are you headed as far as total gross revenues? And then how you're trying to place those marketing dollars, place them for administrative. You're thinking about growing into a different, bigger space. How are you allocating dollars for those growth opportunities within your gross revenue?
Well, there are a lot of agencies out there. Remember, I got friends that I just got a friend that sold his business for close to 40 million bucks, and
Wow.
he's barely 35 years old, and he's been doing Medicare since 2012, only 8 years, right? But the difference between him, another agency that I know of, is that for the number of salespeople that they have equally the amount of service people, like people handling the phone calls, right? So what I tell agents who are just like overwhelmed with a lot of business and like they can't handle it, I'm like, listen, instead of hiring a salesperson, hire somebody that can service your clients, because that salesperson that you try to hire is not going to be as good as you. 100% is not going to be as good as you. You're the best at what you do, and that salesperson is probably not going to be as good as you. And then you're going to waste time and money trying to get them up to speed while you still have to sell and you have to service people, right? Why don't you just hire a service person? Take that busy work off your plate. Take the $10 an hour work off your plate. And now it's not you selling, it's 4 of you selling, because now you're just selling. Now you're not just servicing and handling all the $10 an hour job, right? So my goal is, like I said, it's been a year and a half since I've grown this business to where it's at the moment, and this is our first AEP, the first go around at AEP. So I'm excited about the residual income that's going to come in January and February. And guess where most of that money is going to go? Most of that money is going to go to hiring more service people.
To administrative. Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, there's an exponential growth, right, to administration. I remember being in banking and having 4 or 5 mortgage guys that I was pretty good friends with. And I always wondered, man, these guys are high producers, but they do everything themselves. And I remember one guy, we had some coffee and we're just talking. And I said, Brian, why don't you get an assistant? He's like, well, I don't want to, forego $30,000 or $40,000 of my money. I said, well, that 45,000, let's say call it $45,000, will probably make you 10x. And he didn't believe me. He calls me up about 3 months ago, 3 to 6 months ago. And he said, John, he goes, we haven't talked in probably a year and a half or so. I had left the bank 3 years ago. And he said, I got an assistant about a year ago, and I'm literally going to crack $500,000. He was probably making 190, 200, and he was a baller. He was doing good, but it's unbelievable when you invest into that administrative stuff. And what a full circle, everybody. If you're listening to this video, go back to the beginning where Carlos told you he's a $3,000 an hour guy. Why is he doing $10 an hour work, right? And that's not to demean that, right? It's to put its priorities in its straight way, because if you spend your time doing those things, you're just going to burn yourself out in many ways, right? So, and you're not exponentially growing yourself. So I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with the community.
Yeah,
so what is the plan right now? So you year and a half, you get that first year of renewals. You still have that agency you kind of built, and you've got some vested side of things. What would be a gross revenue goal over the next 2 to 3 years that you want to get to? And can you explain that, how insurance, you sell a policy, you've said that there's an agent that makes $540, but then there's $25 level increases. How does that come in totally? And what's a gross revenue, just for business purposes, right? Your corporation, what does a business gross revenue do? And then how do you see itself going in 2 to 5 years?
John, I'm sorry, but I am the worst person with these kind of numbers. And I know this is probably a downfall to my stuff. When people now, like I'm part of like groups, and they'll say, how many policies did you write, or how much money did you make? I was like, man, I don't know. I just keep writing. I just keep writing business. If I feel like I didn't do something that day, then that's a bad day. But I'm just gonna keep writing and keep supporting and keep growing the agents. So I can't tell you what the numbers are like. All I know is that you'll never outright a team. Like, you can try by yourself to do write as many policies as possible, but there's only a finite amount of minutes in the day for you to write some policies. Yep. So how can we scale up? you gotta build that team. You gotta
Right.
you gotta build that team, and a little piece of something is better than nothing. If all my agents wrote 100 policies each this AEP, and I got 100 or 50 or $25 from that, that'd be fantastic.
Be a lot. That'd be a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah, 100%. An override is a beautiful thing. So,
yeah.
okay. Well, hey, that's fair. Maybe next time we'll
Maybe I can get you the numbers next time. I'm just not
next
good.
time.
I just
Yeah.
don't have
So
time. Honestly, I just don't have time for the books. I know what kind of money is in there and what kind of money comes in and what kind of
yeah.
money goes out. I know how much I got to spend in how much I spend in advertising because it's on one credit card. All the
Yeah.
other stuff is on the debit
No,
card.
and look, guys, I mean, you're learning here on this channel how to run a business, right? I mean, I'm also in the banking lending world, and when we sit down with a small business owner, you could be doing 1 million, 2 million, 3 million in revenue, but when your net income comes in into the tax return, it's kind of after all those expenses, the depreciation.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a new building soon, a new office space, and it's gonna be more money, right? So it's all these expenses and taxes and things that so. But no, awesome. That's why you have a CPA, right? And as long as you have that trust factor, as long as they can show that you personally are making money as a guarantor in the lending world, that's what happens. Is you have a business, you're building it out, you're scaling, you're making money, and then obviously the tax returns speak for themselves as you get to the net operating income. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of beauty to owning a business. Now that you've gone from independent to business owner, there are also some other tax write-offs that you're going to be able to get. And I'm sure the account that you're working with is working
Yeah.
on you on that.
Let,
So
let him do all that stuff. I'm just here like the mule, just trying to sell policies and support agents and make that money. As long as
I
we're
love
in
it.
the, as long as we're high in the black every year, then that's what we're looking for.
I love it. I love it. And hey, I mean, at one point you probably maybe 40 million, maybe that's the
I'll let you know when that number comes in. Then I'll say
yeah.
like, this is what I made.
Awesome.
This is
Awesome.
what it is. But
Awesome.
that's
Awesome.
that's
Well,
that's honestly the goal. Like the goal is, you know,
exit.
I don't want to be an insurance agent for the rest of my life. I'm great
Sure.
at it. I'm good at it. But honestly, I love teaching people. I love like like showing people that this stuff can be done. That there's ways you can change your life by doing insurance. So if I can
Well,
do
and
that for the rest.
if I'm not mistaken, I mean, right now is kind of like go time, mule time, because I mean, there's 10,000 people turning 65 every day,
Let me tell
right?
you
So,
this. Imagine that stat, right? 10,000
yeah,
people a day, or maybe 11 or 12 or whatever, times 365 times a year, right? There's a lot of people, right?
a lot.
My friend who just sold his business for, close to $40 million. How many out of those 10,000 a day, how many clients do you think he has that made it worth 40 million bucks?
In his current base where he sold it out of,
Yeah, yeah.
I'd probably say, I mean, obviously this is new 10,000 a day, but
Mhm.
maybe he built it to about 10,000 total clients.
No, it's more than that, but it's
Okay.
still small relative to how many people are turning 65 a day. It
Okay.
was it was 30,000 clients.
30, okay.
Okay,
30. So I was a
30,000.
little bit off.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's with 18 insurance agents and 18 service people, all that jazz, right? But think about
Oh,
it. But think about it. It's only 30,000 out of the millions and millions and millions and millions that are on Medicare.
yeah.
So
It's
you just need
crazy.
a little piece to beat 40 million bucks. So what is it going to take? It takes, the secret is marketing, John. Like, I used to think the secret was sales. Like this was a sales business. Nah. I used to think that it was a service business. Nah. It's all about marketing. It's all
Yeah.
about marketing. You can just because you open up a taekwondo gym on the corner of your town, shopping center of your town, doesn't mean that people are going to be flocking to take taekwondo lessons. You have to get out there and scream from the mountaintops that, here, I teach taekwondo. This is what I do. You do demonstrations at schools. You go to the fairs. You go do that. You got to get your marketing game at a superhero level. When
I
you get
love
the
it.
when you get the marketing game at that level, that's all that matters. It's all about having an audience to sell to. Just like the Dallas Cowboys. Like, why is it that they're worth billions of dollars? Is because they have an audience, right? How did how did how did Jerry Jones get to buy a $500 million yacht? Like what got him to that point? Guess what it was? His dad was in the insurance business, right? So yeah, so it's doable, but it's all about the marketing. You got to be able to market. You got to have people to talk to, be able to sell to that audience, and make some money.
I love it. I love it. Well, look, we've talked about people, we've talked about process, we've talked about just entrepreneurship, we've talked about the mindset, that aha moment. You know, we like to end Go for CEO over the last few interviews. We've been sharing, you know, the C is for customer experience, the E is for employee engagement, and the O is for operational excellence. So just to end this video and to be respectful of your time for the hour here, share with us what are one or two things that expert insurance team brings to the table as a value added differentiator for customer experience, and then we'll go on with the rest.
I think I dabbled it on a little bit in the middle of our interview. When our clients come to us, they feel like they owe us something, right? I always end my conversations with, listen, this isn't going to be the last time we ever talk to each other. I'm your insurance agent for the rest of your life. This is what I get paid for. So if you need me, you call me, email me, text me anytime. I'm going to be here for you, right? And for my agents, I treat it the same way. You call me, email me, text me anytime. We're going to be here. We're going to be here to support you, right? That's just the basics, the 101 stuff that you should do when you have an agency, right? But all the other stuff is simple. Training videos, training websites, Facebook groups with people who are in the same situation or the same business as you, helping each other out. I have all that stuff, right? I want them to know that anybody can do this. Like even a monkey can do it, but you gotta be willing to do it. So we have all that stuff. You want to learn how to do the Facebook social media marketing and generate leads? I'll do that for you too. It took me 2-3 years to figure out how to do all that stuff. And now because I know how to do it, that's like my superhero power. I can teach people how to generate, how they can generate their own leads, you know? So that's what we bring to the table. Camaraderie. I'm just a real dude. You know, if somebody wants to learn from me, I'm more than willing to teach, because like I told you, John, like it's another level when you can start teaching people. It really sinks in after that, you know?
Sure.
And I love teaching. That's what I'd rather do. I'm good at sales. I'm good at service. I'm good at a lot of stuff. I love people coming back to me and saying, Carlos, you changed my life. That's what I like.
Well, look, you hit on customer experience, a really nice golden nugget. Employee engagement really is the team, what you just said. Any last words on operational excellence, on just the business fly of things, or is it still probably just that mule mentality?
It used to be a lot of the mule mentality, but now it's more of like it's a team of mules, right? So like I said, the responsibility rationing, right? You're going to operate a business. You gotta come to the, well, I think I'm not going to run your business, but you almost have to come to the realization or accept the fact that they're just not going to. No one's going to be as good as you. Like it's not always going to get done as well as you need it to. Find somebody who's good at this stuff, make them an expert. Find somebody who's good at this stuff, make them an expert, and save yourself some time. Save yourself some time and do what you're good at, right? And then accept that they may not be perfect. Stuff happens all the time, you know, still hold them accountable, but accept the fact that it's not always going to be exactly the way you want, and be willing to train, be willing to learn. It'll make your life easier. You'll be easy. It'll be easier. You'll be happier. You'll have better relationships with your families and your friends and things like that. If everything's kind of cool, you know.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, we're going to end right there. And, you know, I want to thank you, Carlos. I mean, you really kind of exposed what it took to really go from, you know, being in the automotive industry, you know, starting to build a family, having that aha moment, you know, with just realizing you want to enter this industry. Then secondly, going to a seminar because you chose not to go to the fun spot of Mexico, but to an actual seminar, hearing someone that laid that golden nugget. And now you follow the process of everything. And as far as CEO, you've got the customer experience, you've got the employee engagement, and you're building up that operational excellence. So thank you so much for joining the Go for CEO community. We'll have you on in the next 6 to 12 months to really kind of hopefully get past, right? We're going to see you after this January renewal first year. And we'd love to hear maybe in March or April kind of where you're setting up yourself again for then coming back to this time of period of the year, and see you're into the second and third year going into your renewal. So thank you, Carlos. Any last words?
Yeah, I hope I'm doing this interview from Mexico next time, right?
There you go.
And I'll say it if you don't want to say it, John. If you're not subscribed to Go for CEO, you got to do it right now. It's probably right here or right here. So
thank you. I appreciate you, brother. Hey, man, looking forward to staying in touch, and obviously